Today, the Innovation Council of Shamlal College has organized the leadership talk on the topic Opportunities for Youth in Artificial Intelligence. With rapid advancement in technology creation and application, it is imperative to skill the future workforce for new age skills to ensure inclusive growth rate and social empowerment. In simple words, it is important to make the next generation ready for the future, led by the emerging technologies such as AI. With government worldwide working to create comprehensive national AI strategies to create sustainable, inclusive, and positive impact on its citizens, industries, and overall societies. The lack of public awareness and understanding of AI technologies contribute to AI skills crisis. Hence, to demystify and create awareness among youth, we have organized this leadership talk. Before we proceed to introduce our eminent resource person of today, I would like to invite Dr. Monica Goel, convener of IIC Shamlal College, to shed some lights about the Institution Innovation Council of Shamlal College.
Thank you, Rajat, for the nice introduction of what is this artificial intelligence all about. I extend my warm welcome to each and everyone present here. This Ministry of Education's Innovation Council, popularly known as MIC, was established in 2018-19 with the purpose of fostering the culture of innovation in higher educational institutions across the country. This is to encourage the youth of the country to basically innovate and create startups, which is the need of the hour, and also the call of our Honorable Prime Minister for Atmanirbhar Bharat. SLC's Shamlal College Institute Innovation Council has also been contributing to this since then. It was successfully led by Dr. Kusha Tiwari under the guidance of our principal sir, Professor Rabi Narayankar, for 2 years. And now the new IIC team is also committed to take it to new heights. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome our eminent resource person for today, Dr. Deepak Garg. I had a chance to hear you, sir, in the Global Summit Race 2020, which was organized by Government of India on artificial intelligence for social empowerment. I must say I was quite impressed. And he's here to talk about a very relevant and less explored field of AI and the opportunities for the youth lying there. So I'm extremely thankful to you, sir, for accepting our invitation very happily. And I am sure that we all would have something to take with us after this talk. Thank you. Thank you, Rajat.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to invite Dr. Kusha Tiwari, coordinator IQSC, to share her thoughts with us.
Thank you, the institution's Innovation Council team, for organizing this event. This is the first event that the new team is organizing. I wish best of luck to all of them and hope that there are many more such events in the pipeline that would take the Innovation Council of our college forward. I must also welcome our eminent guest, Professor Deepak. And the topic, as you know, as Monica has also explained, and the anchor has also explained, Rajat, that it is very relevant as far as the spirit of innovation is concerned, which is the call of our Honorable Prime Minister, and also the need of ours. We need to innovate in different aspects so as to contribute to a society which is more equipped to fight the issues and problems that we as humanity are facing today. I must thank our principal, Professor Rabi Narayankar, for giving the college this opportunity giving the college this opportunity and having the Innovation Council in the college. It has been a very enriching experience for us in the last 2 years when we worked on it. Thank you, sir. And I must thank the new convener also, Dr. Monica, for organizing this event. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, with great pleasure, I would like to invite our principal sir, Professor Ravi Narayan Kar, under whose leadership this college is taking huge leaps and emerging as one of the top institutions in Delhi University. Sir, please share your words of wisdom with us. Thank you, sir.
Namaskar. First of all, I would like to congratulate SLC Innovation Council for organizing this webinar, and I also congratulate the new team for carrying forward the metal for taking it further forward. At the same time, also I must extend a very warm welcome to Professor Deepak Garg, who has joined us for this webinar for delivering the talk on a very, very relevant and contemporary topic that is artificial intelligence and the role of youth. And I also very, very happy to note that there are almost right now around 75 participants are there in this webinar. So I hope the learnings from Professor Deepak will go in a long hand for shaping my students, my young students. As you know, in the recently, the recent national education policy also, actually that is what the Prime Minister has always been focusing, that if you see the education policy, that is a lot of focus into our, that's a multidisciplinarity we have been talking about, but that was very much there in a part of our culture, our tradition, everything. But down the line, somewhere due to a lot of factors, you have read history also. So somewhere we, there is a, disconnect. We miss the boat. So there is a lot of emphasis on, joining those, joints or the points like I can do, commerce with chemistry. You can do physics with music also. So these kind of multidisciplinarity should be there in the academic, discourses, so that you can take the best thing and you can shape that. And having said that, that new education policy also, as you know, has a lot of focus on this artificial intelligence. And if you remember, there is a, I'll just very briefly tell you one. Most of you must have read, Mahabharata, though I am forgetting also. There is a mention of Sanjay. So, I used to say, in all academic institutions, there are a lot of people always claim to be Sanjays, but they have that drishti. But unless you are knowledgeable, unless you have your content, unless you have your processes also, so you can't be a Sanjay. So in order to become that, you need to master the artificial intelligence technology, and which has come in a very, very big way. Already, you don't know, I don't know. It has already invaded our private places, our homes, everywhere, our mobile, everywhere. Whatever you are doing, it is because of this artificial intelligence. And being students, because it is also the fourth industrial revolution where we have already stepped in. All of you must be being, most of you are science students also. So you have to develop that content, those processes also you need to master, so that you can become very, very successful in life. I won't take much of your time, so you have an expert with you. So I hope you'll learn a lot and carry it forward. Once again, congratulations to Innovation Council and our IQAC led by Dr. Kushal Tiwari. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir, for your ever encouraging words. Now, I hand over the proceedings to my co-host Ritik for the introduction of our eminent guest. Thank you all.
A very good afternoon, everyone. It is indeed an honor for me to have gotten the opportunity to introduce Dr. Deepak Garg, our resource person for the day. Sir is the director of leadingindia.ai and NVIDIA, Bennett Center of Research on Artificial Intelligence. He's also the professor and chair of computer science engineering at Bennett University, Greater Noida. He's a top-level professional and consultant on strategic planning, artificial intelligence, and machine learning, with an impeccable record of delivering over 200 talks, organizing international workshops on futuristic skills related to machine reinforcement learning and data science in collaboration with professional organizations, as well as workshops on leadership from various institutions. Sir has completed his PhD from Thapar University and BTech in Computer Science from Punjab Technical University. He was also the professor and chair of computer science engineering at Thapar University, Patiala, and has worked as a software engineer at IBM, USA, and Bangalore. Being the multifaceted personality that he is, Sir holds the credit of having 40 Scopus papers and in total, more than 100 publications, including IEEE Transactions, Springer, and Elsevier journals. He has worked in national and international committees on NBA, NAAC accreditation, and is the only ABET program evaluator from India till now. In addition to all of this, he's also an active blogger with the Times of India under the nickname Breaking Shackles. Sir, on behalf of SLC, I would like to thank you for accepting our request and gracing us with your presence. Before we begin with this leadership talk, I request all the participants to kindly take note. All the participants are kindly requested to put up their questions in the chat box, which shall be addressed by our eminent resource person at the end. Also, the participants are requested to keep an eye on the chat box for the link of the registry, for the link of the feedback and attendance form. Thank you, everyone. Now I humbly request Sir Deepak to kindly take over. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
So thanks a lot, everyone, and for the nice introduction. Thank you, Dr. Monica, for inviting me, and thanks a lot to the principal for the nice words and this initiative. So coming straight to our topic of youth in artificial intelligence and what is the role of youth, how youth can participate, what kind of opportunities it brings to the youth. So before I start my presentation, I will bring out some points that technology is a young technology. So it automatically coincides with the aspirations of youth. So many times I have seen that people who are doing research from last 50 years or who are in their 50s or 60s and doing research in machine learning as well as the traditional artificial intelligence. So when we talk about them to the recent developments of artificial intelligence, so somehow they are not able to understand the jumps that have been taken by the technology because they have been so habitual to working in those past algorithms which are now entirely new. So we need to understand that the scenario has completely changed. The previous technologies of machine learning have quite become outdated and new technologies have come. Why it is relevant is because of the increase efficiency of the platforms as well as the algorithms. Even non-computer science people can easily write the code now. They can also build the applications easily because of the availability of the tools, which are very easy to program. So I remember that when I used to work in neural networks back in 2002 or 4, so for a single neural network development, you have to write thousands of lines of code in C, C++, which can be done easily now in a one line of code using TensorFlow or Keras, which are the tools of AI. So that is the kind of change that has come. So some people think that why it has become popular now because the artificial intelligence as a word or as a technology is there from last 60, 70 years. So the reason is that previously it was only in the realm of academicians. It was only in the realm of research labs. It never came out of those buildings and went to industry, or it doesn't came out from there and some real products were not designed which were being used by the public. But now if we see, it is really working for the welfare of the public. Many fantastic applications and wonderful use cases are available now in the public. So a lot of difference is there. So let me go to, let me share my screen. Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay. So I will start with some very high level use cases to understand that what are the capabilities of AI. So in day-to-day life, there are few things we are very annoyed at. So specifically you people all living in Delhi, so you are very annoyed at traffic jams and a lot of other issues related to traffic. So somebody can ask that, can AI solve this problem? So if you see below, it is written that I can do it. AI is saying that. How it is saying is that it is not something that we are predicting a futuristic, we are not predicting something, but it has been made entirely possible. If you see now, the Tesla cars are running on the roads in Europe and US, and many of them are semi-autonomous, many of them are fully autonomous, and they can interact with each other. They can interact with the owner of the car, they can interact with the surroundings, with the environment, and they can drive themselves. So let us say if there is a situation, means which may come after 10 years or 15 years, that all the cars are running on their own. So means you are just sitting, let us say, sipping a coffee at your home, and you want to go to your office, or you want to meet your friend, or you want to go to a dinner. So then you are just waiting a call from your car that when I should get in, because your car is waiting for the right time, that we should try to move at this particular moment, and we will not face any jams because that car has already interacted with all other thousands or millions of cars before starting, that I will be traveling, and this will be the situation at this particular place, at this particular junction, at this particular street. So every car is talking to each other. So everything is going smoothly. There is not even a single chance of any traffic related jams or announcements. So in your FM radio, you will not see okay, in Delhi, this particular road is closed, this particular road is now one way, this particular road, please avoid. So nothing of that sort. So you can do your work, you can enjoy your video game, or you can uh, prepare some presentation sitting at the back end of your car, and you can enjoy your journey. So that is possible. Theoretically, it is completely 100% possible. How much it will happen specifically in India or in other developing countries is time will tell, but it is already there in many small means as a small prototype. It is there in some particular areas right now, and it is expanding day by day. So can we go online without the fear of getting hacked? So still means at the back end of our minds, we have a fear that if we are using a credit card online, if we are doing something online, there is possibility that in some morning we wake up and we see that some fraud has happened, some money has gone without our knowledge from our bank account, or somebody else has misused our credit card or our other online wallets. So you see these news every day in the news, in newspapers and in online forums. So even means anti-hacking softwares or techniques have become sophisticated also, but it is always a race between kind of good and evil. So, but with the help of AI, there can be preemptive strike or preemptive technology which can see the signatures of the incoming IP addresses, incoming data, and can automatically check and stop such kind of things from entering the network. So it is entirely possible that with the help of AI, we can even avoid that. So another thing means those people who travel a lot, and you see, while if you remember your airport journey by air, the only thing annoying is the screening at airports when you have to stand in lines. So even if you want to go to from here to a place Lucknow or Chandigarh or Jaipur, so you have to go 2 hours before departing. So that is a big headache. So sometimes you plan that, okay, let's go by road, because anyway it will take more than 4 hours just to go to Jaipur, because 2 hours before you have to go because of screening. So now what has happened is that in many airports already there is a cameras installed which are thermal come image cameras, which can automatically take a snapshot of your bag and your body and everything, and they can find out if there is a gun, if there is something which is objectionable. So you don't need to kind of take out your laptops from the bags or take out anything else and get yourself screened one by one physically. So it is already there in some advanced airports, and this technology has already proved itself. And in the few years, it will be everywhere, I think. So that is possible. So similarly, if you see avoid hospitalization and prevent diseases with early diagnosis. So that is also a fantastic use case. Already we have seen in some particular diseases, it is happening that just by taking a photo of your skin or photo of your retina or photo of maybe your blood sample, so they can see that whether something is coming up in next 1 year, next 6 months, means some symptoms are visible. So that kind of artificial intelligence has gone up to that level. So it can tell you early that if there is some possibility that you may catch up a particular disease, and you start taking preventive measures and you never go to a hospital. So companies can save trillions of dollars in mass marketing. So this is a very business oriented application. Everybody is spending billions and billions of dollars in marketing. Whether you go to a YouTube video, you have to wait for some advertisement to finish so that your video starts. So and you go to any web page, you go to Facebook or Instagram, in between you see sponsored content. So people are spending million, billion, trillions of dollars, but still means they are wasting a lot of money. If all these trillions of dollars can be spent in social uplift of the poor and removing the inequality in the world, you can see how much wonders it can do. So if AI can help the companies to specifically target particular customers who are most likely to be interested in their product, then the companies can save a lot, and probably then they can invest in other societal needs. So that is another thing that can be done by AI. So fraud-free economy, we have discussed already. And another very popular use case is natural language processing. So you can see now in YouTube, some of the videos when it come, automatically you see the labels below. So now nobody is writing those labels. Those labels are automatically coming with the help of AI. And you have seen some Google devices already in the market where they means if two people are using those devices and one is speaking French and other doesn't know what is French and he understands English, so those Google devices automatically translate whatever you are speaking from French to English. So that is kind of a magic, means nobody thought about it 2 years back also that this can happen. So this has all speeded up because of artificial intelligence. So recently, you also see that people are able to review the comments written on any product. People are able to even write some draft blogs through the artificial intelligence robots. And there are so many other applications coming. You have seen the chat boxes in every website now where you are chatting with a chat robots instead of a human being. So all that is with the use of natural language processing. So seamless movement, already we have discussed about it, that if there are autonomous cars, instead means one thing we have discussed is traffic jams, but there are other things also that we will be saving millions of dollars in oil, because we will not be kind of standing in queue, we will be not be standing in lights, red lights, and we will be taking optimum routes. So we will be also reducing the accidents. So everything we will be reducing. Then the food security is also possible due to AI because of precision agriculture. So I have seen the use cases of precision agriculture. So let us say there is a tractor. It is called a robo tractor, something of that kind. So it will have a, for example, if you have a laser printer at your home, right? So in laser printer, you have three kind of cartridges: red, blue, green, and then you have a black cartridge. So every cartridge sprays different kind of color so that your desired color is printed on the paper in terms of colored printout. Okay. So similarly, if you kind of copy that model in precision agriculture, you have a tractor and it has a box which has three different kind of boxes. One is containing fertilizer, one is containing water, one is containing pesticides, and any other requirement that you need to feed to your plants. So then that robot is also fitted with the cameras. So it is going ahead in the field, and the cameras are taking live pictures and processing real time. So which plant needs how much water, how much pesticide, how much fertilizer is specifically put drop wise to the roots of that particular plant. It is not spread like now we are spreading Now, if you go to a farmer, they just throw in the farm. They throw pesticides, they throw water everywhere. So with the help of this, around 50% of water, pesticide, as well as other resources can be saved, and the output of your farm will increase. So overall, the means we will say that the output will be double. So the income of the farmer will be doubled. So somebody can say that how the farmers will kind of get such kind of machine. It will be very costly and all and all. So if you go to Punjab, Haryana, you see all those big machines, threshers and combines. So all are using that, but nobody is owning them. Some companies owning them, and they just hire for a rent for a few days and they do their things. So similarly, these robots also, there can be some new companies that are already, some startups are coming in this area, so they can start working in that direction, and then slowly and slowly this field will further mature, and we will have foolproof robots which can help farmers in precision agriculture. So many students become confused with these three words, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. So very clearly, this picture shows that artificial intelligence is the superset of all these three. Means if somebody is machine learning, working in machine learning, he can also say I'm working in AI because he is working in AI. Machine learning is part of AI. Somebody working in deep learning can also say I'm working in machine learning, I'm working in AI. That's okay. So means there is no kind of hard and fast rule. You can kind of somehow interchange these also. But basic difference is that when we say artificial intelligence, so it is a word which has been added to intelligence. So we are having human intelligence, and our intelligence is called natural intelligence. Now here you are saying artificial intelligence. So that means which has been created by a human being or created by for the machine. And machine means the persons who are using that machine, they somehow feel that machine is trying to act like a human being or acting intelligently. So that means you are able to show, or you are able to build some artificial intelligence as part of the machine operations. Okay, so machine learning. Machine learning means, let us say machine is giving a performance or doing some task at X point of time. Now, after some time, at Y point of time, the machine starts behaving in a better way than the previously. So that means machine has learned something automatically from the data it is getting, from the interaction it is doing. So it is not means having same level of intelligence that it was having previously. So as it will be in the field and apply the AI algorithms, they will continuously keep on improving themselves, and that means machine is learning by itself. That is why it is called machine learning. And when we say deep learning, deep, the word deep has come from the neural network. So when you are having multiple layers of neural network, that means you say that you are using deep neural networks. So then the term comes deep learning. So there are three basic categories of AI. One is called computer vision. So you may hear that some researcher can say I work in computer vision. Some researcher will say I'm working in NLP. Some will say I'm working in video analytics or speech translation. So these are the means top level bifurcations of AI. So if somebody is working in computer vision, then on top you can see it is written image classification and object detection. So means either you are classifying an image, for example, give a image to a computer. Let us say you give a MRI image. So then it will tell whether this MRI image represents a patient which has cancer or does not have cancer, or whether this person has sugar or diabetes or whatever needs, thousands of diseases. So you give some image, some radiology image or some other kind of image to computer, it can classify automatically. Or you give a image to computer and you ask the computer whether it is a cat or dog or lion or zebra or whatever. So you give thousands of classification and you want your computer to tell that which classification this image belongs to. So AI will do the magic there and will tell you what it is. Similarly, object detection. So sometimes you don't even only want the classification. For example, in autonomous cars. So in front of your car, you don't only want to know that somebody is walking or not, you also want to know where he is actually, what is the location of that person. If a car is there in front of my car, what is the location of my car? What is the location of that car? So that I avoid collisions, I can do my calculations, how to drive, what speed to drive. So that part is called object detection, where you also detect that where is that object, what are the coordinates of that object. And the second is voice recognition, language translation, we have discussed already. In natural language processing, we have discussed that there can be sentiment analysis, recommendation engine. For example, now you are using Zomato, or you are using Swiggy, or you are using Flipkart or Amazon. So you do all that analysis, which one is better, who has given better review, 5-star, 4-star, 3-star. So how those categories are being defined. So that is being done by AI. If you write something, then AI automatically deciphers that whether it is a good review, whether it is excellent review, average review, or bad review, or fair review. So automatically it gives some stars. Then there are a lot of applications now coming in education also. So if you go to like Coursera or edX, which are online MOOC platforms, you will see that they can do a learner profiling. Just like I am speaking, they can do a profiling on me, that how much active I am, how much I am speaking, whether I am confident or not, whether I am happy or not, whether I am interested in this topic or not, how many times I have stopped, how many times I have took a break in between, right? So how many questions I have answered. So all these things mean there are hundreds of parameters any learning platform now is able to capture. All are not doing that, all are at different stage of progress, but these are the possible things that AI can do, and it can do learner profiling. So it can also tell you that this particular learner has, if there were 3 objectives of a particular class of 1 hour, he can tell that this learner has learned only first one, not learned the other 2. So all those things it can do. Lot of application means whatever area you can think of. There is not even a single area of your life, of industry, of society where AI is not applicable. So I can spend whole 5-6 hours just telling you about the applications of AI in different areas. So these are the very common use cases which you are already using, but you don't feel that I am using AI. For example, you all are using personal assistant. You all say, hello Siri, hi Siri, do this, run me this song. You all say, hey Google, hey, hi Alexa, right? So what you are doing. So when you say that, you just think that, oh, you are now using AI. So recommendation engine, we have already talked about. Identity system. So many of you are opening your phone by your face or by your finger. So what it is? It is AI. So even means a person in the rural area, remote area, they are also using AI, but they don't even know we are using AI, or we are using kind of gulam of AI, or we are means uh, all being surrounded by AI application. We don't even know that we are going in that direction. Chatbots, many of you already, for booking your tickets, for booking your hotels, or booking your dinners, you are using chatbots already. So smart payments you are doing. So all these are very current and updated use cases. And the recent one means robo journalist. So already there are many news. If you see, you search robo journalist, you will see that now there are robots available which can automatically create news stories for you. So maybe after some time, all the jobs of this Republic TV and Aaj Tak, they will go away, and there will be robots sitting and they will be telling you the news, right? So then creating trailers of movies. So some means automatically the AI will scan every frame of the movie for the director and automatically create a trailer. How it will create? It will automatically know that which particular scene is the more impactful, where more action is happening, where more pixels are will be easily visible to the eyes of the audience, and all means it is a lot of sophistication here. Then in Europe recently one music concert happened. तो लोग उसको म्यूजिक कॉन्सर्ट को मतलब अटेंड करके बाहर भी आ गए, बट उनको पता नहीं चला कि ये जो म्यूजिक हम सुन रहे थे, दिस वाज ऑल जनरेटेड बाय ए आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस मशीन. देयर वाज नो म्यूजिक कंपोजर एट ऑल. So that is the level of AI we are already in. Okay, so previously means when the computer science teacher used to teach the students, तो पहले lecture में वो बोलता था कि computers cannot create something, computer cannot write poems, computer cannot write novels, computer cannot make painting. But अभी वो पूरा खत्म हो गया. So now computer has even crossed those boundaries. So there have been some auctions recently which were even better means paid by people, which all those paintings were 100% created by AI machines. So you may have seen AlphaGo movies also there, that how AI machine has won the most complex game of the world, AlphaGo, Go game of China, from the best champions of the world. So computer has won that game. Fashion show being designed by AI, costumes being designed by AI. If you search for this, you will see already some of the actresses in US and all, they will be flaunting their dress that, oh, I have AI designed dress. So then a lot of things happening on satellite images, drones. So means again, there are so many other use cases I can talk about. So these are some of the interesting ones I thought maybe you will feel good about. So just is a little technical also, that how, what is the main difference between the traditional algorithm and AI algorithm. So in traditional algorithm, let us say you have a picture and you want computer to identify ke batao whether this is car or vehicle or a cat or dog. So then you have to write millions of lines of code. You will define some curves, you will define some pixel values, you will define some domain expertise. Means it is kind of impossible thing. But still people were trying, they were not successful, they were writing some research papers and getting promoted and all that. Right? But now what is happening is you don't have to do anything. Just give 10,000 images to computer and tell that, see computer, this is a car, see computer, this is a cat, this is a dog. 10,000, give the images. So show them 100 images of cat, show it 1,000 images of cars, and just give it. वो अपने आप कुछ जादू अंदर करके प्रोसेस करता है, उसके बाद you just keep on giving anything, it will automatically tell you. That is called the black box magic of AI. So this is what is happening. Now you don't need to give anything. You just need to input the data with some labels to train your system. Once it is trained, then keep on giving any new images. So this is just a sample, means you don't need to understand it. This is how a image captioning network will look. So this is actually a software where you give a image to a computer, automatically uski captioning kar deta hai. For example, this image was given and the caption came, a cat sitting on a chair. So means it gives other interesting captions also. This is just an example. So this is an example here of a convolutional neural network which is specifically built for classifying images. तो क्या होता है वो अभी आपके स्कोप से बाहर का है. So I am just showing it here. So what are the current challenges? Just before going to challenges, some students may have question कि हम AI सीखें कैसे? How we should, if we want to learn, how we should learn? So there are 4 steps. So you all can write or remember those 4 steps. The first one is, don't wait for any teacher to come in the class and teach you what is AI. Maybe the teacher also doesn't know the updated technology. Right, so go to any online courses because they are being offered by the top experts in the world, and many of them are free of cost. So just take an online course so that you get a ground going on AI. So second is that you have to do a mini project in AI so that you understand the whole life cycle, what are the challenges, how I can do it, how I can build some initial models and test them and feel confident that, okay, now I can run a AI model, right? Now the third is, if you have done this, so you can, means you can write in your resume that you know AI, but nobody will take you, nobody will hire you. Why? Because you will not be conversant with the latest phenomena in AI. Whatever you may have learned, maybe 6 months old, maybe 1 year old. So the technology is changing so fast. So you have to be active. Either you do some internships or you run through some online challenges or hackathons, which keeps on happening every day, every week, every month, so that you know where you stand If there are 10,000 people participating in a hackathon and your rank is 9,000 something, then you are zero. So if you are in top 100, if you are in top 200 because you have learned the game of playing models in AI, so then that will work. So right, so then the last is that again you have to keep on doing some real life projects. So now there are so many startups who keep on who hire interns. Sometimes they may not give you any money, but you will actually have access to real data. Or even there are so many databases online also available. So you need to access those data, and you should have access to and you don't need to invest anything. There is Google Colabs available, Microsoft Azure platform available, NVIDIA NGC platform available, which have given trial access to everybody, demo access, where you can work for a month or so and you can run your models. So initially means you don't require any software specifically, just a web browser is enough for you, and you can means for learning purpose, you don't need any specific thing. So Google Colabs is very good, and you can access that and try your initial models. So we will, before going to challenges, maybe we can take a break and one or two questions if are there. Yeah, you can write your questions in the chat box.
Vicky, I think someone raised hand in between.
Please type your questions in the chat box. Unmuting will be chaotic because then a lot of noises will come.
Can you please ask your question if there are any?
Whatever you feel is not important or a stupid question, don't hesitate. Go ahead. Okay, so the first one is congratulations to the Deepak Kumar Swami that he is the first person to ask the question. Asking the question is, I think, most important in the life of a student. If you are not asking questions, I don't think you are students at all. So first one is neural network. So neural network is kind of a mimics our brain network. So in our brain, you know that our neurons get excited when we do something, or when we are fearful, or when we are when we are doing something interesting. So similarly, in the last slide, I shown you. Let me go back. So this, if you are seeing, this is a neural network, this green one, where you are seeing a number of nodes. This is called the first layer, then second layer, then third layer, and fourth layer. First layer is connected to second layer, second is connected to third layer, and so on. So this is a neural network. I can't go into the details because that will require an hour or so for going into the parameters and how it works and everything. So second question by Prakhar is that he wants to pursue masters in marketing. How AI can help me in my marketing career? Very good question. So AI, if you have seen the news just yesterday only, one startup has got around $4 million from Sikyoka Capital. And the task is to make marketing intelligent. So a lot of startups are in marketing analysis, how to get new customers, how to retain existing customers, how to open up new areas for customer acquisition. So marketing is I think in top 2 or 3 areas where AI is really doing wonderful things. Yeah, please, other students, or there are only few listening and others are just kind of logged in. Anything related to advanced AI, whatever means you think, or anything related to your career, maybe your education.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, basically, I'm learning web development.
Mm.
Yeah, so I want to learn AI with web development. Actually, I'm focused on MERN stack right now. मुझे पाइथन के अंदर जाना पड़ेगा, मतलब पाइथन अच्छे से पढ़नी पड़ेगी वेब में इसके एआई पढ़ने के लिए, या फिर जावास्क्रिप्ट से आगे बढ़ सकते हैं?
See, both are two different things. Means there are people who are too much expert in web development, because that is also a very niche area where you need a lot of expertise to make really good websites which are working and which are interactive and dynamic. So I think if you are into web development and your interest is web development, then that is a separate area to pursue. AI is a different ball game. So if you want to pursue AI, then you need to spend more time in AI, because otherwise you will be dividing your time in AI and website development. So Python is really necessary now for AI, because even if you are working in PyTorch or Keras or TensorFlow, all are using Python only. So I don't think means there may be many hindrances working with JavaScript for AI, because a lot of new APIs and new frameworks, they just support Python. Okay, so we go to the next section now. What are the challenges? The first one is explainability of AI. Explainability of AI means that let us say a hospital is using a AI system. So it is trying to find out whether a particular person has brain tumor or not. So generally any AI system is never 100% correct. It may be 95% correct. It may be 92% correct. So that means out of 100 people, 5 or 8 people will get wrong result. मतलब उसको ब्रेन ट्यूमर नहीं है, AI कहेगा कि आपको तो ब्रेन ट्यूमर है, या उसको ब्रेन ट्यूमर है, AI बोलेगा आपको नहीं है. So how to handle these cases? These are very critical issues, because that person will go to the court or will cry or will go to the media कि मेरी तो जिंदगी खराब हो गई है कि AI इन्होंने चलाया और मेरे को गलत बता दिया, right? So that person is also right, but there are some errors which are done by the doctors also even now. There are thousands and thousands of accidents happening, but only one accident happened with autonomous car, and there was a lot of international cry about autonomous cars. So all these things happen. So this is the issue of explainability, that even if somebody goes to court or kind of finds the mathematical model, nobody is able to explain why AI is giving this wrong answer, why AI is even giving the right answer. Nobody knows. So there is no such clear-cut mathematical deterministic solution that why a particular person is being given this particular category. It is just happening. So people are going deep into that and trying to make a framework, a protocol, a standard, so that this kind of issue can be worked out. So many top universities in the world has now opened up centers of research for only explainability in AI. They don't do anything else in AI. सिर्फ इसी पे करते हैं कि इसको कैसे find out करें. And the next thing is human in the loop, that you cannot keep AI on its own. All of you may have seen a lot of English movies and disasters happening. So if we leave the AI on its own, तो कल को आप सब जो होंगे वो AI के गुलाम बन जाएंगे. So I am not trying to make you fearful, but that's the reason why every system that we are trying to make, we say that there has to be a human in the loop. So AI only acts as a assistance or a assistant to human, not vice versa. So for example, if doctor is using it, then it is a assistant to the doctor in helping him in the analysis or something else. If maybe some marketing people is using, then it is helping the marketing person to do some analysis. So like that. Then data dependency, AI is fully data dependent. And traditionally, as a society, as a human race, we all are biased. We are gender biased, we are color biased, we are region biased, we are language biased. मतलब ऊपर से नीचे तक हम biased ही हैं सब. तो वही सारा जो biasness है, that has come to the data. Because what data you will give to your AI machine? All the existing books maybe, all the existing sentences maybe, all the existing images maybe, right? So whatever data you will give, by default, by nature, वो biased है. That's why most of the AI system which are in operation also, they are also biased already. So many studies have been done. There are many reports on this. There are real use cases also where people have shown that there is extreme bias in AI analysis. For example, there was a survey in US jails कि अगर ये वाला जो क्रिमिनल है जेल से बाहर आ गया तो दोबारा क्राइम करने का कितना चांस है. So the result was completely biased. All people of color, AI showed that कि ये दोबारा क्राइम करेंगे. And all white people were shown कि नहीं ये तो कुछ करने वाले नहीं है दोबारा. So that is the kind of bias that is available. Similarly, means somebody asked that if a boy is a programmer, then a girl is what? The answer should be programmer, but answer tha girl is homemaker. So that is again a gender bias, right? Because that is the kind of data available on the net and everywhere. So these kind of gender biases also needs to be removed. So then we have I already told you that AI is always probabilistic. It is never 100% correct. And many people think AI may help in climate change. But in some cases, it is happening in reverse because we are using now very high powered GPUs, data centers, clouds, computing nodes and everything. So a lot of energy is being spent and carbon footprint is actually increasing. And computer localization. So now Indian Parliament is talking about data protection bill, but nobody is talking about compute protection bill. Because whatever cloud you will be using for training or all the startups which are using Google Cloud or Amazon Cloud, all those are also in US or Europe or Australia or somewhere else. So whatever innovation you are doing as part of your algorithm, as part of your application, that is also potentially risky that somebody else can see it, somebody else can use it, somebody else can acquire it. So that means the compute also, which happens now in cloud, should happen locally in your country. So in India, the another challenge is scarcity of funds. So all people the government is just spending maybe only 1% of what US or China is spending on AI because of the resource scarcity. And most of the students, they are happy working in AI models, but they are not happy in deploying those models. Deploying means actually the final stage of any AI solution is that it should work on a mobile phone. But people don't know how to convert my model to a mobile phone model. So those are the things that we need to learn so that we develop an end-to-end application, not some dummy projects which are useless. So then there are ethics, moral and legal framework. Let us say if there is an accident due to AI or some wrong decision by AI, then who is responsible? Doctor is responsible, or the developer is responsible, or the company whose software is being used, that is responsible. Hundreds of other stakeholders, who is responsible? And there is lack of legal frameworks as of now. Judges don't know what is AI, advocates don't know what is AI. So if anything unethical is happening, anything immoral is happening, somebody is developing some application which is not in the interest of the society, there is no legal framework available. That is another challenge. So these are the 5 focus areas of Indian government for AI: healthcare, agriculture, education, smart cities and infrastructure, smart mobility and transportation. So this is a supercomputer available in my lab, which is called NVIDIA DGX-1 V100. So this is equivalent to 40,000 computers, and it just looks like a one computer. It is very small. So this is the leading India.ai collaborators of University College London, NVIDIA, AICT, edX, IEEE, Royal Academy of Engineering, UK, Newton Bhabha Fund, Brunel University, Amazon. These are our partners. So thank you for having me here. Again, we can take one round of questions.
Hello, sir.
Thank you, sir. Kriti, can we have questions, please?
Yeah, ma'am, sure. Good afternoon, sir. Sir, there are a few questions which our audience would like you to address. First one is from Palak, and she is asking you to throw light on surveillance capitalism, sir.
Yeah, very good word you have chosen, Palak. So this is actually happening. Surveillance capitalism actually means this is very real. and many of the democracies are being subverted in and being forced in a one particular way, so that people vote in some particular way or people do in some particular way. Similarly, some of the companies who are having monopoly on data, who are having monopoly on devices, so they are trying to create further monopolies based on the user participation. So they are trying to make more and more users addicted to their devices so that they can further pursue their agenda of surveillance capitalism. So why it is happening, I think there were many interesting documentaries, 2 or 3 are available on Netflix and other, you can go in full detail. So they very interestingly and beautifully show that how this is happening.
Thank you so much, sir. I hope that her questions have been cleared by now. Sir, another question is from Rajat. He asks that whether it is necessary to have a science background to become someone prominent in AI. And also he asks to know about the best programming languages to learn AI. If you could just please
So
let.
Rajat Pandey, if you want to learn anything, nothing is required. Your passion is required. You don't need to be even a literate person to learn something, to learn AI also. So don't worry about any prerequisites. If you have passion, just go for it. Everything will become clear when you move forward. So the languages necessary are Python, languages necessary are, means you should know Jupyter Notebook, you should know one of these TensorFlow or PyTorch. And when you will get into the field, automatically means all the things will come closer to you. So don't worry about any background, whatever you have. If you have the passion, just start today itself and you will do wonders.
That was very motivational, sir. Exactly, everything needs a motivation. Sir, another question is from Jay Chauhan, and he asks the role of BTech in AI, like how a BTech student will be benefited from his BTech degree while pursuing artificial intelligence.
I mean, there are a lot of carriers in AI. Companies are coming and they are saying that we need people in AI, we need AI professionals, we need people who have worked on data science, who have developed some models, who know TensorFlow or who know some other cloud computing technologies. So all those companies, if you go to LinkedIn or you go to other job sites, you will see a lot of companies directly looking at people who have experience in developing AI projects. So it is very clear that market is looking for degrees or BTech students who have done some courses or certifications in AI.
Yes, sir, that was really helpful. I hope so. Sir, the last question which I have got is, sir, someone is asking about the books from which they can learn about AI. Like a lot of resources are there, but begin with, we need some books or resources from which we can start learning and having our journey in AI started.
So I have not read any book from last many years. Right? Books take around 1 year to publish. AI technology is changing so fast. So start reading blogs, start doing online courses, start doing online tutorials. Forget about books. Okay.
Sure, sir. The traditional method won't work, right?
Yeah.
In artificial intelligence learning. Sir, one concern which our teacher has raised, Dr. Supriti Mishra, that she is concerned about surpassing of human intelligence by artificial intelligence. She has raised this concern, and she also says that FB debates on how human intelligence will be surpassed by artificial intelligence in the coming time. So if you could just please throw light on that topic, please.
No, there is no danger. The artificial intelligence have already surpassed human intelligence in some areas. There are very good examples where the accuracy of AI applications is much better than the human cognition. But there are some areas where it is still progressing. So it is only depending upon how our society as a organization or the governments are going to deal with it. So it is a very
Another question.
thoughtful question and require detailed answer. So at this point, I can only say that at least for next 10 years, you don't need to worry. We are still in the area of artificial narrow intelligence. We have not gone to artificial super intelligence. So as of now, that field is very new. So it will take at least 10 years, and you can relieve your tensions at least up to 10 years. Let's see what happens after that.
Definitely.
Kriti, let us ask Sir first if he is comfortable asking more questions.
So if you'd like to
is it
answer.
okay?
Yeah,
So I think there are more questions coming in.
Yeah, so we have 10 minutes more.
Okay, go on, Kriti.
One of our teachers, Dr. Neha Batra, she has asked what ensures the privacy of netizens will be taken care of with the emergence of AI.
So privacy has already been breached, right? So even without AI also, every footprint that you are having online is recorded. Anybody can see what you were trying to do, where you were located, whatever photos you are uploading, right? Some of students I know, they are using lockers in their phones, they are using secret folders in their phones. But those secret folders are gateway to more danger because they automatically know that in secret you have something secret. Okay, so we have to be very, very careful while using most of the applications on our mobiles. At some point of time, it can ruin the life of many of us. So already these privacy things means you have seen recently this GDPR has come, so which has put some brakes on people using data. But still, a lot of things are happening. So it is our responsibility as a human, as a citizen, as a society that we need to be careful.
Sir, would you like to address one last more question?
Yeah.
Sir, Varun Chandra, one of IIC, he has asked that, sir, even though AI seems to be the future, but sir, don't you think that it can't great to involve in one's life, even though how much advanced the technologies get?
Can you repeat?
Sir, he is asking that no matter how much advanced the technologies become, it can't get into a person's life.
It has already come to your life, means I have told you, means some people started from the time they wake up. They use their fingerprint or they use their face to open their mobile phone. So the first thing you do when you wake up, you use AI, right? But if you are in a jungle and you are not having a mobile phone, you are not connected, then AI cannot do anything to you, right? Then you are safe and sound. So it is already in our lives. It already, most of the students who are listening to me, they are already addicted to their devices. Just think about it, how much time you are using, whether you can do a 1 day mobile fasting or not, how much you will be in tension. So we need to be again means think through that these mobiles and TVs are wasting your time and stopping you to become a good person, stopping you to fulfill the goal of your life. So that the same time you spend in learning something, in reading some tutorial, in making some new project, in reading something about innovation, but you are just wasting your time on Instagram and Facebook and everything. So these are the things already which have been very cleverly put by the top MNCs, and you are actually money making machines for them. The more you use, more money they make. So you are being freely exploited by those companies.
Indeed, sir, it was a really eye-opening insight on what you just said, how it's wasting our time. Ma'am?
Yeah. So let this time for word of thanks has come. Kriti?
Sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. I am honored to get this opportunity to offer the vote of thanks on the occasion of this webinar. On behalf of my college and the entire team of IIC SLC, I would like to extend my gratitude to the eminent speaker of today, Dr. Deepak Garg, for sharing such valuable information. Your knowledge has provided us with a newer perspective and a deeper insight into various aspects of artificial intelligence, as well as how we as youngsters can build a career in it. This webinar would not have been possible without the constant support and guidance of our principal sir, who always shows us the way ahead in all our endeavors. My special thanks to our convener, Dr. Monica Goyal, and all the teacher members of the team for organizing such a useful talk and guiding us at every point to make this webinar a huge success. Last but not the least, I would like to extend my gratitude towards the most amazing audience we could have had to make this webinar interactive and lively. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Kriti. Thank you, sir, Professor Deepak. I'm really grateful for you to have accepted this invitation from my side and given my students this rare opportunity to learn about AI. So before we leave, can I request all the audience to please switch on your video so that we can have a screenshot with Professor Deepak for our website? Akash, can you please do the screenshot? I request all the audience members to please switch on your video so that we can have a screenshot. Akash, are you doing it? Akash, Rajat, anyone? Please let me know when it is done.
Akash, now Akash is typing in the chat box. I think he is doing that.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Professor Deepak, for sparing your valuable time for us. I would really like to have you again for this kind of a talk for my students. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.